What is the stupidest reason you went to hospital? A bat landed on my head while I was asleep. Rabies shots all around. Hiccups that lasted 24 hours, stopped right when the doctor stepped in the room. LOL. My husband went because he was in extreme pain and thought he was having a heart attack. Turns out it was wind. He just needed a good fart. I got my diva cup stuck. I was a house party, all the bathrooms were full. Went outside, decided I should crawl under the porch to pee. Everything went well until I tripped on the way out and rolled my ankle. Shrugged it off, limped back upstairs and someone said your ankle is broken. Sure enough, bone sticking out. Dee Dee took me to the hospital and got me ice cream on the way home. I miss you, Kyle. You're the best. My wiener turned puffy and red for seemingly no reason. Had to fly to a wedding next morning and freaked out. Asked my GF to drive me to hospital. Nurse asked me if I had been eating spicy foods. Yes, I had been eating hot wings, and I must have held my wiener to urinate prior to washing my hands. Nurse gave me a Benadryl and told me to chill. I later requested the nurse's notes for my records, they're hilarious. I'm an RN at a level 1 trauma hospital. I had been feeling really anxious for a couple days. I'm at work in the middle of the night and my chest starts feeling tight and my arms are going numb and I feel dizzy. My co-workers urge me to go to the ER, which is packed and smells like BO, took a nap in the room while I waited and when I woke up I felt fine. I'm 99 sure I just had a panic attack and in hindsight, it makes sense, I had been very anxious. I'm an RN and couldn't recognize my own panic attack. I felt very silly. My then 2-year-old daughter shoved a broken crayon up her nose. It took a week, we saw 2 doctors then a trip to the ER with no luck. The ER doctor actually managed to shove it in farther. I finally was able to get an appointment with a pediatric ear, nose, and throat doctor who had it out in about 60 seconds. She's in her 20s now and I still tease her about it. Oh, and the crayon? It was green. Not me, but I had to pick up a mate who swallowed a 50c piece to win a $2 bet. If you don't know, an Australian 50c is quite large. They had to do an endoscopy to get it out. They let him keep the black corroded coin too. Christmas Day, I dislocated my knee attempting to kick my brother during a sparring match. Needless to say my martial arts career was over. Migraine that presented as body numbness. Got a 3-day workup for a stroke to find out that I not only have migraines but an aneurysm. So thank you, migraines, for saving my life. Not me. But my kid complained of their throat hurting and was absolutely distraught and said they didn't know why it was hurting. We went to the ER, turns out they told the doctor they had eaten some MMS they had snuck and didn't want to tell me, and turns out the shell of one had just scratched their throat. Facepalm medium light skin tone emoji modifier #hash. I got kicked in the shin by a robot. When I was about 3, I was running up the stairs in my house and fell. I hit my chin on a step and bit my tongue nearly off. My parents took me to the local hospital where they sewed up the gash in my tongue without anesthetic. I still remember it to this day. When I was 8 I was bored, so I got a bottle of Gatorade from my pantry and grabbed a kitchen knife, then proceeded to stab it over the sink to see how easily the knife would go through the thicker plastic of the bottle. Almost lost my thumb. I almost sliced my finger off with a deli slicer, almost immediately after telling my trainer that I think cleaning it this way is going to get someone hurt. I pissed myself and thought my water broke. Shrug #oh the joys of pregnancy. Panic attack, thought I was dying LOL. So I was on a ski trip, I was just standing, but I lost my balance, IDK how? I fell on the ground. My leg twisted 180 degrees and before anyone got to me my tibia broke. I took my daughter to the hospital after she had been puking for 12 hours. Nurse was making me feel really stupid. My daughter threw up all over the nurse's computer. She took us right back to a room after that. Dislocated my knee just walking around my house. Found out my joints are all fucked up. Ear infection that I thought was an infected jaw or some flare-up of TMJ. I was sleeping on ice packs. I hadn't had an ear infection as far as I could remember. Didn't know what it felt like. Doctor looked in my ear and then ran out of the room and came back with antibiotics and anti-inflammatories for me to take immediately. When I was 12, I got into an argument with my sister over kittens and she slammed our glass door so violently my hand went right through it and I sliced open my wrist. Doctors said 1 millimeter deeper and I'd have been a goner. I still have the scar. Severe unexplained chest pain. Turned out I pulled a muscle in my chest using my asthma inhaler. I got a good one. I used to rent a small apartment and was vacuuming. The cord got tangled around my leg and I ate it. Knocked me out and my roommate found me and took me to the hospital, thinking I was possibly dead. I was fine, albeit concussed, but I woke up embarrassed as hell, faced with tears of joy. Bought a Roomba after that. When I was 3, I lied to my mom that I had swallowed a penny. I told her I found the penny on the floor and ate it. We went to Bellevue in NYC, and we were in the waiting room a long time. She was tired from work, hadn't eaten, and after X-ray I had to fess up that I didn't swallow a penny. I don't believe she ever forgave me, and she certainly didn't believe what I said about much of anything, going forward. Once I decided to have a competition with my friend, who could drink 24 bottles of water the fastest. After chugging 18 bottles I felt like I was about to explode. I was sent to the hospital and felt completely terrible. Passed out from shitting. I got too high and drank too many energy drinks when vacationing in the mountains. Thought I was dying, turns out it was just elevation sickness that turned into a panic attack. When I was a kid, my dad used to take me to the park to practice soccer on days when I didn't practice BC. I was really into it. One day I tripped, he tumbled over me, and screwed up my finger. He was a skater in his younger years, and was used to seeing sprains and dislocated fingers, so he thought it was just a matter of popping it back into place. It was not, it was definitely broken, and he definitely made it worse. My mom still makes fun of him for it 20 years later. Drove a golf ball into my own forehead. My parents were managing my medication intake at home after a depressive suicidal episode, and one day they found the medication was missing. They grilled me and thought I was hiding it to harm myself again, so they took me up to the hospital to commit me. It was found out after the fact that my drug addict older sister stole it, but had told them it was me. She even had come with us to the hospital when I was committed so she could berate me for stealing it, knowing I had done nothing. Family, am I right? Overdose on Adderall, so psychosis. One of my dogs attacked the other, and in an effort to break them up, I stuck my hand inside the angry dog's mouth. Ended up with 6 stitches in my hand and 2 days off work. Don't stick your hand inside an angry dog's mouth. Ever. Twisted my testicles. Edit: why is this being upvoted? My boss sent me to the ER due to a nosebleed that wouldn't stop. They cauterized my nasal cavity. More recently I cut the tip of my thumb off building a model. When I was younger I desperately wanted to be a doctor, still do, and so I faked a sprained arm so I could see the action of doctors helping hurt people. I was so thrilled and just wanting to do the same. Not proud of it, took up in a seat, cost my parents money, and took help and beds from other people who needed them. I hit myself in the head with a bat and gave myself a whopper of a concussion. I leaned over to pick up a ball off the ground while, accidentally, raising the bat as I leaned. It fell on my head. I was playing with Nerf guns with my brother. We liked to pretend we were in the Matrix and dodge the darts. I threw my head right into the corner of a chair, and needed stitches right above my eye. My high school graduation was the next day. I was working as a ticket caller window cook on a kitchen line with another window cook. He was opening a bag of soup with a knife as I was reaching up to grab an order ticket coming in. He ran right through the bag of soup and just stabbed me, right above the elbow all the way to the bone. I drove myself to the hospital, and the restaurant covered the bill thankfully. I was a single mom with my first baby, parents had passed away and I was genuinely alone. The baby projectile vomited, so I called an ambulance. I took my baby to the hospital because he threw up. I worked there. A piece of popcorn was stuck in the back of my throat. A palm leaf penetrated my leg as a kid. It went into my calf about an inch. Hurt like hell. A fishbone was lodged in my throat.